My name is Kristin Flanary. I work in communications and marketing at a Center for Gifted Education. My husband, Will Flanary, is an ophthalmologist, and we have 2 children. He's not funny to me anymore after 12 years, so if I've heard all the jokes a million times.
I'm sometimes funny too.
So if he can make me laugh, then he knows he's got a winner. Yeah. Yep. It's true. The night after Mother's Day in 2020, he started making very weird sounds in his sleep at about 4:45 in the morning, and started saying his name, and he wasn't responding to that either, and he just continued making these noises, and they had this really just alarming quality to them. So then I told him that I was going to call 911, and I didn't know if he could hear me or not, but I wanted him to know I was doing something. So while I was on the phone with 911, there was nothing. His chest wasn't moving, there was no heartbeat, there were no breaths, there was nothing to feel or hear. And part of my brain registered that, so I could tell the 911 operator, but another part of my brain just didn't understand how that could be, and didn't really believe it. I did 10 minutes of CPR. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to give him, strong enough compressions to do any good, and so I was really giving it everything I had. But then after 10 minutes, the paramedics arrived and they brought him downstairs, shocked his heart with their defibrillator 5 times, and they were finally able to get his heartbeat back. Saving his life has affected me in a lot of ways. A lot of the typical cliches that you hear in a near-death experience are true, and those have certainly applied. Being grateful for every day that he's still here, watching him with our children, just playing and living regular life, and being so glad that, contrasting that with those thoughts that were in my head while doing CPR, that they may have to grow up without their dad, and then being able to watch them just playing in the yard with him or do normal things. Those kinds of thoughts, you think about that a lot more. In terms of my day-to-day actions, I do a lot more advocacy, trying to raise awareness for cardiac arrest in general in younger people, and CPR and AED use, and also for the caregivers and the loved ones of people that experience a sudden cardiac arrest. I wish a lot of the medical professionals understood the humanity behind the experience of a sudden cardiac arrest, and that it extends beyond just the patient who needs the medical treatment, that the need extends to everyone attached to that person closely. So their family members, their caregivers, their children, if there was a lay responder, that person, that all of those people have experienced a life-altering trauma by the time they get to the hospital, and they need to be offered support and resources and the appropriate kinds of information for where they are in that journey. As a young survivor of cardiac arrest, or the family members of a young survivor, it's helpful to have information and resources that answer questions that you have in this phase of life. What should I tell my children is a question you have, because we don't know what caused it. There's the looming threat that maybe it will happen again. And we don't know if our children might be at risk, and that's a scary piece of uncertainty to live with. I've taught them how to use an AED and how to call 911 and just all of the typical emergency procedures, and they just take all of that in stride. You live with the anxiety, you don't get over it, but you learn to live with it. And just try to bring some good into the world from having something scary and bad happen to us as a family. I think we're similar in using humor as a coping mechanism. He makes jokes, but I have a sense of humor. That's what I like to think about that. It's just, you know, we've had really dramatic examples of bad things happening for no apparent reason. But in life in general, if you can approach everything with a sense of levity, it's just a nicer way to live your life. We could be in the most depressing situation and it's just so ridiculous that it's funny.
Humor helps you gain some semblance of control over a situation you have no control over. Having something to laugh at in the medical field, I think it resonates with people, especially over the last year. And you know, it's nice to hear from people that say that it does help them kind of get through some difficult times.
I like to think of it as fertilizer. Like when these bad things happen to you, it's just a big stinking pile of crap. But if you can give it a little bit of light and, you know, water, then maybe something really beautiful can grow out of it. So, you know, the humor is certainly that.
It's not, I wouldn't call it beautiful humor.
No, your
it's
humor's
decent,
not beautiful.
It's fine.
Yeah, no. But the light, you know, the humor it's a metaphor. The light is the humor. And then the advocacy is the water. So I like
gotcha.
to make something nice out of it. Yeah.